It's Friday. Market made a new all-time high this week again. Bitcoin tops 100,000. We got a lot of stocks reporting retail stocks. Some doing pretty good, right? AB Lululemon jobs number 835, or is it this month's jobs number, or is it the October revision or September revision? We don't know until we get those numbers. It's a two-man crew today. Me and CF, Tony Pawluck, Real Life Trading, joining us at 8:35. Let's get fired up for pre-market prep.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. And this is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
All right, good morning, traders and investors. Let's get the charts up here. Let's get ready to go on this Friday, jam-packed Friday. We're in the red, but like most of the red was this whoosh. Like in the last 3 minutes of trading, a little bit after hours, we're down just a smidgen, down four handles, 84.75. All about that jobs number. The buck, it's up 6 cents, 105.76, trying to put a double bottom in. TLT, we'll be watching that during the jobs numbers, sneaking over 94, up 22 cents. USO down 64 cents. Bad day yesterday, foul through to the downside. GLD and SLV going in opposite directions today. GLD up 94 cents, 243.80. Silver down 11 cents at 28.45, and Bitcoin futures, well, they crossed that threshold yesterday, but they're down $1,305 at 98,470. Let me stop the screen share here and bring in my co-host Christian Fromhertz. How you doing, Christian?
Good morning. I've got my Lions blue on for you. What a game and what a season! 12-1. It's Friday? Happy Friday! So can we talk like 1 minute? Do I have leeway to talk 1 minute sports this
Well,
morning?
you would we just we're subject to the chat, whatever the chat wants to do. I thought someone said that we could do 3 minutes, but I think we could just go a minute.
You know, I'm so impressed with the quarterback over there. They did a really good job. I was listening to the commentary talking about how rough it must have been for him once he kind of like he got traded from the Rams, and and the Rams went ahead and won the Super Bowl, and that must have been really tough. I like comeback stories. It's what really kind of what I really like about sport. One of the things that I really like about sports. But look at the comeback story for this kid. He's having a great season. They're 12-1. My Giants are horrible, so I'm rooting for Detroit to go all the way for the rest of the year because I got nothing else for the Giants. They're horrible, but yeah, go Lions.
Yeah, Dan Gamble. I mean, that
Yeah.
guy. I mean, that the calls that he makes. I mean, he stands by. I mean, 43 seconds, kick the 48-yard field goal, whatever, take the lead, and then that last play, boy, oh boy. But anyways,
Gutsy.
yeah, the Motor City Kitties here. Let's talk crypto. Because it's a crypto market. It hit 100K yesterday. The futures hit 105K. Uh, sold off yesterday. We could talk about the market implications after that too here. But Christian, where do we go from here? What's your thoughts on Bitcoin?
It seemed to be such an obvious trade that you get to 100,000 and it's a sell the news event, and because it seemed obvious to me, and we started to kind of go. I don't know what the top was, but it was like 102 or 103. I didn't, because that's normally like I'm all about like buy the rumor, sell the news, but I kind of got hooked in a little bit too, and I didn't think that you would have saw such a move down like that. But hey, these are the implications all the time that we see. It doesn't matter if it's something like Bitcoin or if it's something like an earnings report. A lot of times it is a buy the rumor, sell the news, and it kind of just took the air out of the momentum bubble for, I don't know, for a couple hours, I think, in the overall market.
Yeah. So what do you do? What do you do when you have this kind of situation? You have a bogey here. I like watching the futures because the futures hit 100K a couple days ago. So I don't know what the hell everyone was waiting for. But what I think right now, what I'd be looking for, looking right instead of left, the upper right chart. What do you have after big moves? You're supposed to have periods of consolidation, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you consolidate, I mean, I can't, it's impossible to pick where the exact lows of this consolidation period would be. But let's say you consolidate between 95 and 100, and then boom, you get a breach at 95. Maybe you got some more room on the downside. 100, you establish 100 bid, then we go to the Kenny Glick theories. You go to 100, you go to 110, you go to 110, you go to 120. But down today, the one thing I like to look at in the Bitcoin is the open interest. And there was not a lot of liquidation here. So, you have a big down day, you see big liquidation, maybe that's some longs getting out. Christian, talk about the effects, though, on the overall market with
Yeah, sure. And by the way, like you bring up a great point. Like now that you've hit that psychological level, you don't want to see too much of a give back. So I think like I'm with you. Like I'm looking at like I think just very keeping it simple too. Like look at the lows from this week, like which is right around like in Bitcoin futures
95.
500. That's what I'm watching to see if like because a normal consolidation is perfectly fine. One other point that I wanted to make, which I think is different with Bitcoin too, is it's when there's like so for example in the equity world there's margin calls, and you have time to satisfy when you get hit with like a margin call. It doesn't work that way in cryptos. If you're on margin and it blasts through a level, you automatically get liquidated. So that's why sometimes you could see these big down moves that happen really fast, is because for those folks that are on high leverage, they will automatically get checked out. Like there's no like, hey, bring in money to satisfy your margin call. Boom, automatically. It's very cutthroat in the crypto world. So sorry to go around the point here.
No, it's a good point.
It
It's a
to
good
me, I still think Bitcoin and the cryptos are a gauge of speculation. So it's I will kind of keep an eye on what Bitcoin does, and if it breaks through that 94,000 level, then I think that you want to be careful with some of the some of the things like software, which have been just out of control to the upside, as well as small growth. That's kind of a little bit of an indicator for me to say, hey, maybe we're due for some of these things to kind of cool down a little bit. So that's my crossover from Bitcoin to equities.
Yeah, let's just do a little crossover here too, because the meme trade, right? The retail trade. We do have some, they go together, right?
Hmm.
And you do have some news on AMC selling 50 million shares to Goldman Sachs here after the nice move up. I guess. Is Goldman getting on the stock? I mean, they hit this thing down to 430. I mean, getting some more cash in the bank. We rarely talk about these stocks, but they use that opportunity to sell some stocks. So AMC trading in the red, well off the pre-market low.
That I mean, that can't be a good sign. I mean, the stock. So first of all, like the stock went up yesterday, and Roaring Kitty made a tweet yesterday, and like all the meme stocks started to go. GameStop, I think, got halted for a minute, but I mean, the stock goes up, like gets a nice move and nice pop from $5 to 550, and automatically they're selling. So to me, that's not your best sign. Maybe if the stock went up to like $7, $8, and then they want to ring the register, but the stock just got a lift and automatically they're ringing the register. To me, that's not the best sign.
Okay, and then we don't need to spend much time on GME. I got the tweet. I don't understand it. Christian understands that quote. Got up, got a nice pop. I'll just give you the area where it got to. That high 30.57. Haven't really seen that. Not sure what it did in the overnight trading, but just looking at the daily high from yesterday, you're down 62 or up 62 cents. That 30.87 was the high, so keep on that if you're looking for more upside here. So we got the crypto out of the way, we got the meme stocks out of the way. Whew! Well, let's go to the retail sector, and you're either a big winner or a big loser. I don't know if AB is up and listening here, but he was pounding the table on Lululemon when it was sub $300. Let me give you the numbers here on Lululemon. Lululemon 287 versus 271, sales 240 versus 236. That's good. It looks like you bumped their revenues a little bit. So beat, raise, big move in Lululemon.
Yeah, and I heard this morning that they part of what helped move the needle for them was international. They had some good numbers, and that's something that I guess they've had a difficult time with. Mainly the yoga pants and leggings and that kind of market has been mainly in the U.S. But I think what helped them was expanding in international, and they got a pickup there. So there you go.
Okay, all right. Let's look at things here. It's over the 50% retracement. So if that's the way you were playing this, or that big move, 500, looks like it was at 220. Well, your target would be 370 area. You did hit that today. Pre-market high, 382.53. You are $8 off that. So there you go. That if you want, if you want to match where the pre-market traders were, that's what you got to get up to. Man, on the monthlies, if you're a monthly chart trader, you've exceeded your May high of 360.45. Your next monthly high is 394, 69,000 shares. Now, that's not a ton of volume. Be careful on this one. I mean, I don't know where the high of the day is, but if they run this up like another $5 and take it up to the pre-market high, wherever that opening print was, you may want to have some caution on that. All going well in the beauty sector here. Let's go to Alta. Maybe Warren wish he would have held on to that stock. Alta, it's a beat. That's a bigger beat. 514 versus 454. Beat on the sales. 253 versus 250. Why not raise fiscal 24 revenue? Better Q3 results. Raise 24 sales. Raise for Alta here. And I guess if you're long Alta, this is a beautiful chart.
Yeah, was this a situation where they just beat on lower expectations, or was
Mm-hmm.
this a really good report? What do you think here? I see one headline: B. Riley says Ulta Beauty rally is opportunity for sellers. I don't know. That's
Well,
so. Do you think this one holds, Joel?
I don't know about B. Riley, but
Yeah.
Joel Riley says this stock was at 330 and change after Warren dumped it, and now it's 100 points higher in what, a dozen sessions. I'm agreeing with B. Riley on this one. I mean, you just have when you these stocks have these kind of moves. I mean, if you have targets, and I'm not saying that this is the top and this is the move, but if you don't take your target and this thing is back under $400 in the middle of the next week, what if you did take your profits in CRM? Okay, well, it's still hanging up there, but you really had some good. Ooh, that's an interesting for you CRM traders, man. Trapdoor 356.5. But there's a couple other these stocks. Like, give me a stock where, I mean, a shorter term example, like if you wanted to sell Hood at 40 yesterday, or 41, or 42, or 43. So, just going to Alta, take the money and run. That's the way I look at it. You're way off the pre-market high. Pre-market high comes in at 442.30, and I think anything above 420 is gravy in this one. 421.21 was your May 31st high. Um, who was that short seller in Elf? Remember that? Not too long ago. Remember they came out with
Ooh.
the short report.
Yeah. If I don't remember, that means to me it wasn't a confident in statements in response to short report. Muddy Waters was it?
Muddy Waters.
Carson Block.
Yeah, yeah. And that was on the 20th. And what I look for when those kind of things happen is, what does the company say and what does the company do, right? Something like SMCI, well, they fumbled and they fumbled and they fumbled, and they, on the way back theoretically. But what Elf did is that CEO man, he got on CNBC like the next day and said, "This is malarkey, man. This is not true stuff." So defended the stock, getting a nice boost here, Alf. So there is your catalyst. We got some software names moving today, right? Off earnings, and Don't You Sign is doing pretty good. Let's go to that one. Uh, Subject of a takeover a while ago that never materialized. Let's get to the report, do the technicals, and maybe try and find some sympathy trades here. 90 versus 87 on the EPS. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Oh, that's boom, boom. What do I have here? Q3 adjusted, 90 beats 87. Sales beat 755 versus 745. Sees Q4 revenue up slightly, raises fiscal year 25, beat, raise.
Yeah, I mean, making copies. This is a company where I think everybody knows that DocuSign is used a lot. I just come down to like, where are they going to get their growth? It says, I'm reading a headline that says DocuSign jumps on earnings. Billings stole the show. So I guess really strong billings. 90 cents revenue, $754 million, surpassing Wall Street's estimates of 87. Look at that bottom right chart, that you're showing there, because I just see this chart all over the place for names that have been beaten up and then have based for a little while and then are turning back higher. We've got about 10 stocks that are doing that type of thing. The question, I guess, is how much further does this go? I got a weekly chart up that I'm looking. I think I would watch $100. That's a level.
Add years to the stage here. Ooh, that's
Oh yeah, sorry. Here we go. Yeah, I'm zooming in and I'm doing a whole bunch of things. There's some overhead supply I see at 100, also 120. But I've had difficulties with this company because I have a tough time trying to figure out what's next for them. Like what's gonna be the next exciting thing than legal documents and so forth.
Okay. All right. Let's go to another software name that's having a good report. Trading higher. Viva Systems here, trading up $16. Let's go to VEEV. That's a pretty easy symbol. VEV is trading off its Q3 beat, $1.75 versus $1.34. Beats on revenue, $6.99 versus $6.16. Sees fiscal year 25 revenue at 644, or EPS at 644. Revenue, little bump there. Beat. Wow, beat, raised again here. This is kind of like a Christian chart, hanging up near the highs of the highs in the move. Christian, how you doing?
That's funny. I know that you're giving me a little bit of a sarcastic about the highs. Well, this one still has more to go, but I just can't get over some of the software train just keeps rolling along. Viva is one of those that it hasn't been, it hasn't gotten back to new highs, but there's a few other ones too. We also have GitLab up. Viva I have not traded in a long time. I just think that there's been better places to go. But GTLB is up nicely. That's up 11% this morning. That I'm watching the 72 level to see if that can maintain above 72.
So you would actually buy it if it holds 72?
I would be watching it here. Like I don't need to go out today and buy it, but it just goes onto my watch list of things to kind of watch. I do like... where's your chart? Your chart on the, I guess maybe on the bottom right. I guess it's a newer company, so it doesn't go back to before 22. But once it kind of breaks above those highs, I think it's beginning to now kind of correct and do something a little bit different. Yeah, Guidewire was another one too. RBRK is a newer company. Now, this one I wanted to buy, Joel, but I couldn't do it because it was just up too high and there's not enough history. But this one's been acting really well. This is a newer IPO name, but look at the performance of this thing, right? This has really been accelerating, and they're adding to gains this morning up to 65 bucks. So of all the the software names that have come out this morning, this one has me most intrigued. And again, it's the one that's has been moving the most. But will I buy it today or will I buy it up here? No. But I would be waiting for a little bit of consolidation because it's got that momentum theme, which these names have been just running. So I'll definitely have this one on my radar. RBRK.
Yeah, they lost less money than they were supposed to. They were supposed to lose 40 cents, lost 21. They made more money than they were supposed to. Their estimates were 217.5. They came in at 236.2. Sees bumping, raising the Q25 revenue and adjusted EPS. So uh, beat, boy, we're getting a lot of beat, and raises here. I'll just give you a pre-market high in this one. It's 68 bucks, just nestled in there. Or would that be an after hours high? Yeah, the initial spike took it up to 68.05. Seemed to have a bid here right at the $65 area, 64.75 to 65 has been minor support here. Uh, for a gap fill in this one, man, you got a long way to go to 54.90. S&P's continuing to leak here a little bit. We did have that whoosh in the last few minutes of the session yesterday. I don't know if it was selling balances or just someone said, "Hey, you know what? I wanted to sell more at 6,100, but I want out more," and we got a jobs number. So
Yeah.
really, yep, down 750 here, and the S&P is just kind of creeping towards the
What
low
can we
of
do
the
one
session.
more one more earnings name if you don't mind, Joel? Because this one actually missed out of the software group. This is the underperformer today. This is IoT. Ticker symbols like Internet of Things, but it's Samsara. This one I actually bought some after hours because I thought the numbers were pretty good. I think that this is a case of the expectation. Probably the expectations were too high for this one. Can I share my screen
Yeah,
once?
just
Okay.
yeah. Hold on, let me stop mine here. We got to get you controls here now that you're part of the crew here. We got to get you full controls of the screen. Go ahead.
Okay, so it bounced off this technical level down here at 48. I bought some at 48.50 yesterday. I sold a little bit into the strength, and I'm seeing if it can basically maintain this like right around like 49 bucks, but more importantly, like around like 49.50, and we'll see if it can bounce. I think the story with them is that their numbers were fine. It's just that their guidance was a little light in terms of what the street was expecting. So I'm long a little bit of this. We'll see so I bought the dip. I thought maybe it was just a little bit of an overreaction to the downside. We'll see how it goes. But yeah,
Yeah.
if it breaks back below here, like the 49 level, I'll be out.
It did get to 46. So did you try and catch a falling knife in that one? Did you just throw that bid out there and just say or do you try and catch it on the way up? Because when Dennis talks about trading these moves, I mean, once it's offer, offer, sell, and then when it turns, so were you a sitting duck on there, or did you try and catch it on the way back up?
I try to catch it a little bit on the way back up. I've been burned before by thinking like, oh, geez, the numbers are okay and the stock is selling off. Sometimes there's something that I haven't read yet, or that I haven't gotten the complete story yet, and the name just keeps getting hit, and that's not a good position to be in. So I try to be a little bit patient to see, okay, let's follow it on the initial reaction. Let me just and I try to read through the report, make sure I'm not missing anything. So I waited about like probably about 10 minutes or so after the numbers came out, just to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, that there wasn't something that was really bad. So that's what I did on this situation, because I've been just caught in bad situations where a stock will just keep going to the downside.
Okay. Should we do here? We're looking at the earnings parade here. I'm gonna take the screen share back on this one. Is Kathy still in this PATH? I don't get those
Oh, let's see.
updates. Yeah, you checked and man, running into the report here made a new high for the move. That must have been a big earnings disappointment back there at the end of May. We'll talk about iPath here. Boom, boom, boom.
It is. She's in the big ARC Innovation ETF. It's about 2.7% of that ETF.
Huh. Well, they beat 11 versus 7 and they beat on sales. And I don't know. What do you do with the guidance raise? They seek revenue. You have 423.79 estimate and 422 versus 427. So basically, why even give that kind of guidance when it's almost smack dab in the middle? They did what happened here. Man, it's been bouncing all over the place. After a big move like that, let's see if it can hold the pre-market low. Pre-market low comes in at 1381. So you did get a nice bounce. The mark would be something a lot of people would be looking at 1495, and then no serious upside for Kathy on this one until you could clear that double top at 1561 and 1567. I was looking, I just wanted to go back. I think it was that IoT thing because I did see a setup here. If you're looking at this, long term, not just, at your short term action. I got an interesting area here under $50. Now you're trading at 50.30. So there's an area down to $49. So see if, really 48 and a half to 49 and a half. You're going to have to see if a bid develops in this area, just to say, hey, they're going to be buying a dip. And I'm going to start talking about today. I'm talking about over the next couple days. I think I maybe made a similar call yesterday in AV, and I kind of, I saw a series of lows here, and they just kicked me in the teeth on that one at the 171 area. So
Hey,
sometimes the dailies don't. What do you got for me?
well, I was just going to say what's interesting is like you've asked if this was in the ARC ETF. What I've been noticing is, and I need somebody to kind of tell me this. When she drops out of a name, and I'm not giving any disrespect to Kathy here, but I've noticed once they kick out a name, once they've hold it all the way down, and then they sell it, it starts to come back. So, for example, I believe Docu was a big name in that ARC Innovation ETF. That's not in there anymore. Also, ticker symbol U, Unity Software was a big holding of that too. That's not in there anymore. And look at Unity Software start to recover too. That's been making some big moves over the last week or so.
You could add another one to the list with that. Our esteemed guest, I believe he was on a few weeks ago, Sean Avery. He noticed a liquidation of Kathy in Zoom, and I don't know. I think he said it was in this area. I don't know if she sold it that bad. But yeah,
It's something to
that
keep track of because it's like the throwing in the towel. Like once some of these big investors they've had enough pain. That's sometimes when the stock goes back up.
okay. All right. Thank goodness for one of our chat members here, Beer Guy. Hey, Beer Guy, how you doing? We got some jobs numbers coming up here, so you guys know what I like to do. That Christian, give us a preview.
Preview of job numbers. All right, so we've got just in 1 minute or less than 1 minute, we've got change in private payrolls. They're looking for 205. The overall, where's the other number change in non-farm payrolls is 220 is what they're looking for. And then the change in private payrolls, they're looking for 205. The average hourly earnings, which is a little bit of it's a sneak preview of maybe inflation. They have a pretty high number. They're looking for 0.3. So that's a nice high bar. So we'll have to see how those numbers come out. And I'm always interested in that average hourly earnings because it is a gauge of inflation.
And I guess this is all about the revisions here, right? You had the hurricanes, you had all this stuff, and now what did people go about? Okay, all right. First move is lower.
We got 227 for non-farm payrolls, and we got for private, it's a miss. It's 194. Average hourly earnings rise 0.4 versus 0.3. So that's higher than the numbers were indicating. Whoops, this is in the wrong place. But there you go.
Okay. Well, pooh, wow. The initial move, whatever Algo had to sell program on the Algo there, well, they got stuffed. I don't know if there was some sell stops here. Not much. You didn't even get to Wednesday's interday low. That's 76. I mean, you just would have had to flat out have a bid out there. But then just immediately bought it back up. So let's go, Christian. Go over the numbers again here, where the S&P shake and bake.
Yeah, sure. It was so you got kind of mixed because the headline number non-farm payrolls was 227. The estimate was 220. And then the change in private payrolls, they were looking for 205 and you got 194. So one number is up a little bit, the other number missed a little bit. Just bare. I mean, we're talking about splitting hairs, by the way, between those estimates. And again, what is interesting to me is average hourly earnings was a little bit higher. So that inflation is still present. 0.4 versus 0.3. We don't have the here come the revisions. All right, so revisions. The previous non-farm payroll number was 12K. That's revised up to 36K.
So the economy's still doing okay.
Basically, yeah. Again, like the numbers they're so close, so
Yeah, that's one thing that Blue Pot, Blue, when we have him to do our inflation numbers, he's like, point this, point that. I mean, what are you gonna do? Well, didn't give you a level to buy the dip there, folks.
Look at the
but
VIX is all the way down to 13.
what about the lie detector? What about the TLT? What about the TLT on this? I need to switch to the minute chart here to get this and get the price action here. So the TLT spiked and is basically flat. So
Look at
everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Look at the small caps have been leading all morning.
Okay.
They're doing quite well at this point. IWM has been leading all morning in the overnight session, and that the small caps have been trailing all week. This has been such a rotation market where it's been all about like the Qs and technology this week. There's just been this underlying bid all week long. And meanwhile, what was strong about a week and a half ago, which was small caps, have been just taking a breather. We did see, by the way, just to bring up a little bit of option flow, there was a pretty big order yesterday. It kind of got me involved in IWM to buy the dip a little bit.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, so somebody bought. Let's see if I can get the order. They went to the very end of the year, so maybe they're thinking Santa Claus rally towards the end of the year. They did the December 31st 248 calls. They bought those for 220, and that's over 8,000 contracts. That's a 1.9 million premium order that somebody's looking for some upside, or for the small caps after kind of moving down this week a bit to kind of turn back up by the end of the year.
Okay, so let me give you some numbers on the outside. And I see our esteemed guest here in the background, Tony Pawluck from Real Life Trade. And Tony, give me the thumbs up when you're ready to bring you in here. 98.50 is the all-time closing high. That was made on Wednesday. I mean, you traded through that like chop suey yesterday. But that's still a number that's your high in the session. Yesterday's high, the all-time high. Let me check the sheet. That comes in at 6107.25. But let's see the Bulls and the Bears. It looks like we're squaring off at that all-time closing high yesterday, or no, not yesterday. From Wednesday in the S&P 500 futures. Okay, folks, it's 8:34. It's time to bring in our guest here. So let's give him a little bit of an intro, get things started. Tony Pawluck, Real Life Trading, up early there in Utah. Tony, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Now I know why Jeremy sold the company to you. You guys just got that smile on your face all the time, man. You guys, Jeremy trades you well. No matter what's going on, you got a smile on your face.
Yeah.
So do you care about the jobs number?
I care more about what the market thinks of the jobs number. I don't. I pay attention to news in the sense of how the markets take it. So, so far, kind of seeing what you're seeing, right? That quick little flush lower, and then a quick move back up. But we're at some pretty stiff resistance areas right now on the futures and, of course, the market. So, I'm just watching this area pretty closely. I think we're due for a medium, smallish pullback, and then probably Santa rally pulling through. It doesn't have to. We can just crank for the rest of the year. But watching to see if the bears are going to try to step in. I feel like a few levels were broken yesterday, and the party might start depending on what this pre-market finishes out.
How do you find resistance in the futures when you made a higher high from the previous day? You made an all-time closing high 2 days ago. I mean, double time. I mean, is it just maybe you're going out longer term to find some kind of resistance here, or is that psychological 6,100 level, or is it just the old Tony gut check?
I have this crystal ball. That's the secret.
Oh,
yeah, it's over here on the side of my desk, and it just tells me what to do Jeremy gave it to me, so that's
nice.
Yeah. I use a lot. So up into all-time high areas, people are like, how do you know? And it's like, well, you don't know. It's all about probability statistics and control your risk. You never know which trade's going to win. You never know which one's going to lose. I could have the greatest trade in the world that loses, and so I just put the same risk on 1% of my account per trade. Keep it simple. Stop trying to hit home runs and just rinse, repeat. The second part is option levels help a lot at these levels. So I pay attention to a lot of that to SPY and Qs. And then I'll run certain trend lines and certain channels across the board on charts to give me invisible resistances whenever we're pushing into these levels that don't have a whole lot of information to be able to go off of when it comes to resistance.
Okay. So 2 weeks ago, Tony Pawluck was on the show. It was after NVIDIA earnings. We were coming into a Friday expiration, and you were stuck on a 150 level. You said there was a lot of open interest there. I'm not sure how you traded it that day or how you approached it. And I know it was 2 weeks ago, so going back pretty far. Dennis can't remember trades he did 2 minutes ago. But instead of looking back at what you did, is there a similar setup today that's that's catching your attention?
There is. In my opinion, NVIDIA is at a really, really important level. So it's kind of at that spot where the bears should have held it a little bit lower previously. They failed on that, right? So I'm going to see if I can't find this level here on yours.
Have you ever shared on StreamYard?
I can go.
All right, we'll do it next time. We'll do it
next time. I don't see the link on that, but that's fine. The 140 level, I was watching the bears. They got squeezed out of that. So now I am kind of looking at this head and shoulder play, right? So we've got a left shoulder where we kind of hung out here back in the middle of October. And then we've got a head. And now we're kind of in that area of that same resistance. And so this has a chance to really squeeze bears if it wants to and run up. But this is also that area where we could be seeing finally a little bit more of a pushback down on NVIDIA. So I just don't love the reaction after that new all-time high. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. You're like, is this a trap? I was like, it looks like a blow off top to me. So, and then we got quite a bit of selling on the follow through. Now the bulls stepped in where they needed to, but in my opinion, on a daily, it failed to make new higher lows, right? We actually took out the higher low and for just a little bit got bought up. But whenever I start to see a market that struggles to make a higher low after it makes a higher high, that's my first warning sign that, hey, something might be up. Again, nothing is guaranteed. It's all probabilities. But now I'm starting to skew a little bit more towards the wait and see on the bull side for NVIDIA. It could prove me wrong. If we make a new all-time high, if we make a new higher high, I want to see a higher low come in, which I think we will get. But that first break of the higher low, I mean, I'm a price action trader. That's what I'm looking at. And I'm going, my first warning sign right there. Even if we do run, I think we're close. We're close to a pullback. I feel like that in the markets anyways, right? I don't know how many bull months we've had in a row now. This has been an amazing year, but we're due for some type of a retest. And there's a lot of support in the way. The buy the dippers are out in force. And so it's going to take something pretty strong and significant to actually break some of these barriers up top so we can get to some good levels. For me, my good levels, my amazing levels that are going to happen over the next 3 years is sitting around 500 to 450. That area, I'm a buy the dipper all day long, and I will be buying down there when we get there in years if we ever do. But that is a fantastic area that I believe on a monthly chart, we have opportunities to retest.
Wow. Fasten your seatbelt.
Tony, I love what you said about, not having the crystal ball, which I think is just kind of funny because people are always looking for predictions, but I think if the way that you're kind of analyzing the market in terms of, mentioning that, hey, I'm watching certain things in the market and I'm watching what the market likes, in terms of the interpretation of the jobs numbers. That's what's really important in having that process to say, okay, this is where I'm basically going to put on a trade, and here's my risk. Like before you even think about the reward, you're thinking about your risk and sizing it up that way. Just a couple questions. So I love that. Just a couple questions. What time frames are you trading more on? You mentioned what the October technicals and Nvidia. Are you also looking at shorter time frames too? And what other groups are you looking at this point?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. So it all depends on what opportunities I'm looking for, right? So if I want to find a move that's going to happen over the next hour, the daily chart doesn't matter because it's going to take multiple candles for me to build a picture of what the sentiment's doing, right? So it's going to take multiple days to get that information. So I'm more on like a 5-minute time frame for that. If I'm looking at, what's going to happen over the next week, I'm more on like an hourly time frame for that and letting it build some structure, some sentiment so that I can get an idea of what price action is telling me for that little area, that specified time frame. And then I'm in and I'm out, right? Because it might look really bullish or really bearish for the week, but on the daily chart, we're straight, we're bullish. It's going to be very different. And that's where people get confused. So it's all about catching those momentum and those opportunities in that right block with the right expectations where I might be getting in and out, where everyone else is like, how could you be shorting Nvidia? It's the strongest stock in the world. Or it's like, well, for 3 days, right? Like this is my opportunity window based on this setup. And so that's how I approach the markets. Again, I'm all about price action. I'm all about just matching an opportunity and momentum with the understanding that bigger time frames are going to play out. When and if these markets ever pull back, everyone's going to be like, it's crashing. But in reality, it's just a great retest on a monthly chart, right? Every chart is going to give us those retests. You're going to get those every hour on a 5-minute chart. And on a monthly chart, you're going to get those every 3 to 5 years, whatever, right? You're going to get those opportunities. It's just a matter of what's your perspective and time frame.
And I think too, to your point, just the evolution of a trader, some like newer traders, I think they want the market just to continue to go higher and, pushing and making more money. But you get your really good opportunities from, you mentioned like an important word, like retests, right? We've got a lot of areas that are just kind of continuing to march higher. But if these things kind of come in and shake everybody out a little bit, it kind of brings down that sentiment level. And then you get a better trading opportunity on that retest. So very, very good point, Tony.
Yeah. And guys, this could take 2 months. It could take 3 years. So don't just go and short the markets because all of a sudden there's not like you have to. First off, the smaller time frames are going to give you those clues. We're starting to get those clues a little bit, but it's not there yet, I don't think. So time can change, right? New information can change, but you need to make sure that you are understanding how to read that momentum. When that momentum is starting to shift on an hourly, on a daily chart, that could open the door for that monthly pullback, but we still have a ways to go, I think, for that. Possibly change next week, but that's the joy of the markets. But just everyone understand that I'm not calling for that tomorrow, but the charts are telling me the door is opening for that eventually down the road, and I'm preparing myself. So I'm starting to just leg out. I've been out of long-term positions here for a little bit, and I'm just trading now, making money through trading. And so I'll kind of bounce between both. But when I get a pullback, it's time to leg back into some more investments. Some other tickers I'm looking at is Tesla, of course. Tesla just made our year here at Real Life Trading. I mean, the amount of people in Tesla that we had when it gapped down after its kind of reveal show or whatever, and we just started buying in heavy with options. And I was like, if this gaps up over earnings, first off, it was at a great buying location on a monthly. If this gaps up over earnings, it's an island reversal. It'd be one of the best. And sure enough, that thing just took off, and one of the greatest island reversals I've ever seen. And it followed through. So I still think there's more upside on Tesla. There's quite a bit more, I think, coming.
Well, in yesterday's price action, and I'm going to say this with a grain of salt, that the Qs were a little bit weak towards the end of the day. I mean, again, it was like 10, 20 basis points, not a big move, but it kind of checked back, and the market was a little bit weak at the end of the day. But I was watching Tesla because I have a position in Tesla too, and I'm like, it's not really moving, and to me, that's normally a pretty good sign. So I like that price action yesterday in Tesla, the fact that it wasn't going anywhere where the market was going down a little bit. We're starting to approach new, or not new, but we're starting to approach those previous highs. Are you going to be a seller at the previous highs or trim, or what's your strategy once we get there? If we get there, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a trim area. I'm actually looking to add some more back in. So I like this 360 to 340 range on Tesla. If we do get a pullback, I doubt we do because Tesla hates to pull back. But if we do, looking to add more, I really like the 420 to 440 range. I feel like is a great place to cash it out and pay for Christmas, because I think by the end of the year, we should be pushing into that new high. It just looks strong. And I was waiting for that 360 level to break, broke it yesterday, and we're getting the follow through on the gap today. I'm pretty sure it's still. So it looks good to me. I feel like this could continue to run, and it's going to push into that late December, early January timeframe is what it looks like to me. So again, I don't have that crystal ball. I wish I did, but the charts, that momentum, everything is stacking just the way you'd want to see for a really strong close of the year.
Love it. Thanks.
Yeah, Tony, someone asked about Palantir. Is it ever going to pull back?
Oh, man. Yes, someday it will pull back. They all do. It's just some wild markets. It just reminds me a lot of like 2021, or I'm sorry, 2019. Where it's just kind of going crazy. And I guess a little bit of 2021, where things just really, really run. So my advice to you, if you go to that monthly chart, like you have right there, if you go to a monthly chart and you see 4 or 5 months in a row straight bullish, it does not mean buy. You cannot get your sentiment from the large moves in the markets. You need to be in the large moves in the markets. That's where you're making your money, not where you're getting like, oh, it's time to buy. Like, that's not your cue to buy. So that's a big misconception, I think, from people in the markets. Now, does it mean it can't go higher? No, it can go higher. It just means your risk and reward are very skewed. It's a higher probability that it drops than it does go higher. And if it does go higher, everyone at this top are a whole bunch of FOMO traders, which means as soon as they pull the rug out, everybody is going to be stuck in the same spot, and it's just going to flash right back down. You can see this isn't really a pump, but you can kind of see where stocks have made monstrous moves and then the rug gets pulled out. So that would be my advice on this, is like trying to short this. You need to really understand that momentum. But if you can anticipate and think and put yourself in other people's shoes, what would happen if this level broke? What would happen if where's everyone stops at? If someone just bought this yesterday, where does their stop at, right? It's probably below the hammer from the other day. So if we start to take that out, bulls are trapped a little bit, and that might start cascading on itself. So if you wanted to short this, just have a reason to do it. Don't just short it because it's extended, because it can keep going for a long time. If you want to go bullish on this, recognize it's shorter time frames. It's in and out. It's not, I'm going to buy this and hold for another 5 months, right? it's also with that idea of I'm not trying to make a whole lot of money. Like I just want to make 3% of my account, 2% of my account per trade. So it's in and out, not trying to, retire tomorrow off of this trade in this location, because this is what incites everybody. It's already gone up 900,000%. It's going to do it again. It's like, statistically not. This is the profit taking zone, not the buying area. So just be aware of that. Be very careful. Put the risk on that you are okay to lose. Like whatever money you would give to a homeless person on the street is what your risk should be on this trade, because odds are it's going to get taken from you.
Tony, one more before we let you go. Someone's asking your take on Snowflake.
Snowflake. I like the base. The monthly chart, I love how it's grabbing lows. It's getting bought up and we're closing strong. Now it's just a matter of, again, what's your perspective on this? What's your time frame on this? If you are looking at longer term position buys, then I would say let's get some strong closures above 200 and then look for retest and let's jump all over this thing. If you're looking to trade this thing, again, it's up there quite a ways. So 170 is going to be a big level just off the top of my just looking at the charts. 170 is going to be a very big level. I'd put alerts on your chart for that. If that starts to get taken out, there could be some bear swing trades there possibly, but you have to then zoom back out to a monthly and go, where are my monthly buyers coming in? I think they're going to start coming in, just looking at the charts here, roughly around 150 to 170 area. And that's why I'm saying that level's got to hold. So if 170 breaks and those buyers don't step in there, it's going to that 150 mark. There's your short trade. And that's probably going to take 2 or 3 weeks. And so you're kind of in and out. You don't want to short this and be at 150 and be like, it could go to 120. It's like, you're not paying attention to where the buyers are at on the larger time frames, because they're probably going to step in there. They don't have to, but that's where people give up a lot of their gains, is just simply not knowing where to exit. So,
I was just going to throw on this one. I'm just going to go real simple. I mean, you got a double top, 86.82, 86.55. The closing high of the move right there, 86.51. So there's your resistance. It's taking that out, then it's going higher, and you've got a long way on the gap. Tony, I know I said that was the last one. I lied. So much people are just throwing tickers at me here, and you're doing such a great job. Someone is looking for an option setup. You're going to love this one.
Let's go.
SMCI.
All right. Yeah. What kind of option setup?
Yeah. You bullish? I have a feeling that they want to dip their toe in the water. Let's do it on the long side, since people are mostly long buyers.
Okay.
Andrew, if it's a short trade, let me know. But I'm going to have them quickly set this up on the long side.
Yeah, this looks really good. I'll be very careful when it fills the gap around 50 for the bears to be stepping in on this. But in my opinion, on a daily chart, the momentum is to the bull side. I like the price action it's trying to put in here on a monthly chart as well. So keeping that longer picture, it's so important to see the entire picture. That's why I love multiple timeframes like this on a chart. I'm thinking, what are the investors doing? What are the larger time frame players doing? For this and buying options, I like kind of that 35 to 30 range again. We'll see if we can get there. Let's see. A weekly chart. Do you have a weekly chart on this one?
Yeah, I'll do a weekly for you. Christian asked for weeklies too.
Yeah.
Got to see that big picture.
Yeah, there we go. Above 50, and it's very bullish in my opinion. So that's let it close above that 50 resistance mark. That's going to let me know, like, hey, these bulls really came to play, because the bears, it's kind of in that area where they could rotate this back over if they want. Again, strong support around 30. I feel like on a daily chart, bulls have gained that momentum. Now it's just a matter of will they hold it. I'm watching that open gap on that daily chart to see, if they're going to step in, it's close. I could see this getting some bear momentum here soon, but I like the base on the bigger picture. Now it's just a matter of waiting for those levels to break. Let the markets tell you what they want to do. You don't need to guess. So sit back, put alerts above 50. If you start getting strong closure above 50, we've got that bull momentum now on a weekly chart, not just a daily. That is really starting to stack some checks. All right. You can check marks over here of who's in control. it's a question mark on a weekly chart. It could go either way. On a daily, the bulls have taken it, in my opinion. So now it's just going, all right, this is a really good play for a leap. If you do get a close above 50, you could be buying some options on this. You want to give yourself lots of time. I would go out. Let's do something crazy. Let's go out like over 300 days, right?
Oh,
let's do 300 days.
I hope I'm alive in 300 days.
And your target on this is going to be sitting around 90 to 100. You're going to print money on that, but you've got to be patient and you've got to be willing to watch some red P&L for just a little bit, because it's going to take a month or two for it to possibly get rolling. So that's why, like, for me, I'd like to wait for that month or two confirmation, then buy, instead of just buying as soon as it closes above 50. So just be aware, but you could ride these leaps up. You could sell some calendar spreads against them, some short-term calls. You can make some really good money. That's a conservative play. The aggressive play, again, is just understanding your opportunities. Moves down in through 35 to 20 is a great chance for some short-term money on the put side. And then closures up above that 50, you can ride that short-term momentum all the way up as long as you know where the momentum is. And that's the key. Get that momentum first. And then it's just a matter of, do you like to be in for day trades? Do you want to be in for 2-week swing trades? Because there's a lot of momentum plays on that chart right there for 2 weeks. Or do you just want to go, look, I don't know if I want to buy that stock because I don't have enough money, but I could buy a leap, and that's like owning the shares, and it's only going to cost you probably $600, $700 if I had to guess.
Different strategies.
Yeah. And so it's like, for any budget, you can own a great stock with awesome. I don't know if that's a great stock, but the chart has a great opportunity, and you can cash in on that.
He's Tony Pawluck. He's the new owner of Real Life Trading. Joined us a couple weeks ago. Tony, we got the quad witch coming up on the 20th, so I'm going to have my option expert. I'm sure you would be just as good. And then we'll dial you up. We'll get you on the schedule for the new year. Yeah. So ride it into the rest of December. Great content. The chat is loving it. You can get a hold of Tony over there at Real Life Trading. Thanks, Tony. We'll dial you up again.
Thanks, Tony.
New year.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Okay, Wolf, the dogs are barking. Let's, Christian, you want to do the chart on this one, or you want my chart?
Which one? The Woof?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that. Let me bring up the chart first.
Let me give you the numbers.
Okay, do the numbers.
Okay, the numbers. This was an after-hours beat. They were looking to lose 2 cents. They lost 4 cents. They had sales of $1.51 billion versus $1.501 billion. That's a lot of dog food. Boom. Q4, not the greatest guidance here for Q4. It looks like a little bit lower guidance, flat on revenues. But let's see what the charts are saying here. Wolf, WOOF. Oh, you want your charts or my charts?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Go.
I'll go. Okay, so 1 hour chart, just to kind of watch what this move is. Notice we're hitting a little overhead supply here at 628. So that's what I would watch in the short term. If we can get above 628, then maybe we can go to 7. What's the short interest in this thing? That's always anything that's like trading around this level or has some bark to it. I tend to look at the sorry, these are horrible jokes, by the way, that we're giving. The short interest is 30% of the float. So that's why, you could watch for a squeeze in this thing. And that's the first level that I would watch for today, is right around that 628 level, because I'm going to show you a chart here on the weekly. So longer term, if it can also maintain above, so that's the little resistance that I would want to see it get over. But really what I would want to see it get up or stay above is 576. That is what's known as the value area for 2024. That's a big technical level. So I would watch this 576, and then maybe if price can stay above that level, that's where I would set your stop. I would not want to see it go back below that level.
Here we go again. I mean, you're doing your 1 year VPOC extra special, and then I'm looking at my chart, and I see 3 daily highs, pops in the same area at the 575 area. That was back in early October. So I agree with you on that one. If the bulls want to defend this, if you really want to get the bears headed for the hills here, Sustain a buck of six, a bid at $6. And Christian, we missed a good one yesterday because I made a similar statement of in AAL yesterday, and it was trading up in the pre-market. I was looking at the monthlies, and there was this resistance. That's the weeklies. There was 16 resistance, and I'm like, man, if this could catch a 16 bid, and right here, just above here, this area, boom, it caught the 16 bid, was off to the races, trading up higher today. All right, Christian. It's 9 a.m. here. Do we talk about Quad Rich in the run into a little bit before we wrap things up on this Friday?
I think so. I think that's a good point because we're getting, we like to kind of look ahead and say, what's on the radar. The next Fed meeting too kind of lines up very. I was just looking at that too, and what the implications are, whether or not there's going to be another rate cut, and that lines up pretty well. I think that's the 18th of the month. And that's the week of the Quad Witch. So what do you think about that, Joel? Do you think that we're going to continue to run?
The trend is, yeah. Trend is your friend. A lot of times you run into expirations and then you just have a violent continuation or reversal. Really hard to be calling that, trying to pick a top in this market. I will alert our traders and investors that you will have the rollover in the contracts and the S&P futures contracts next Monday and Tuesday. And what that simply means is if you have a long position in the December, you have to sell that position and buy the March, and vice versa. So what it does, it used to be a big trade on the floor trading the spread. I remember this guy Howard Siegel used to be the master of it. But just what it means is there going to be certain air pockets here. Sometimes people just do it one and one at the same times. Sometimes more savvy traders try and leg into it and create their own little spread. So watch for some tricky action next week, and then the front month will be moving. The front month contract will be moving to the March. That will be next Thursday when I'll be gone. But just keep an eye on that. But right now, the trend in expiration, seasonality, Santa Claus rally. If I could call a top for you, I would. Old time closing eye in the S&Ps, 60.98.50. On Monday, we're going to have Todd Gordon making his final appearance of the year here on pre-market prep. Triple D will be gone, and Christian will be handling things, and looking forward to a fun week. Chat, unbelievable day. Great responses. I hope you guys enjoyed Tony. We're wrapping up the week here on pre-market prep. Everyone have a good trading day and a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.